All right, I think we're on. So the first question that I have is whether there is actually audio here. So we have one viewer. Please be patient. But that is of course you, Ingrid. Right. I think we're on. Okay, good. So sound check 1 2 1 2. We have a PlayStation VR 2 unboxing live here. I just got home from work, approximately, and we have this thing going. PlayStation VR 2. And yeah, I mean, I don't have any big plans here. I'm just going to unbox this live, just to have someone to experience it along with, maybe who are interested, and then I'll actually play. I won't be able to stream it live, the first things that I'm trying, but I'm going to create a more dedicated review as we go on, and I can actually get a setup working for that. But yeah, this is the box. I got the one with the PlayStation, the Horizon Call of the Mountain thing. Actually never really played any of these games on the PlayStation, but I figured that this is sort of the only really big release that's coming from the PlayStation, except for the Resident Evil version of their newest game. And yeah, I figured, I mean, this game is going to incorporate all of the newest features, being that it is produced by Sony and so on, and will actually show what the VR device is all about. So let's unbox it. I'm assuming that there is actually only a promo code for downloading the Horizon game inside of here, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm really excited about this headset for a lot of reasons. The first reason is that I don't own an Oculus Quest, and as you can see, we're actually inside my living room now, which is, yeah, a lot bigger than my actual normal gaming room. And because I don't own an Oculus Quest or any other really standalone, I have the first Oculus Quest 1, which only required an Oculus account. I can't really play any new games in the way that I want to without being worried about hitting my TV or anything. So actually getting something that I can consistently move to my living room to have some increased play space, which of course makes VR a whole lot better, is really great. So a lot of stuff. Here's the promo code for Horizon. I won't share that. But let's see. So we'll start with the headset. And we got a cable, which seems long enough, of course important. Coming from the PSVR world, there is something very beautiful about just having one computing device that takes one input of power, one output of HDMI to a screen, and again one input to the actual headset itself. So I mean, the simplicity of actually moving this. Well, I might be playing God of War or whatever in my actual gaming room with a TV, but it's small. I can't really move about in there. So having an actual PlayStation that I can just plug in, plug out, whatever, if I want a gaming session in VR and move it into my living room. It's not the same thing as a standalone Oculus Quest, but on the other hand, it's actually better graphics. And we'll get to the standalone thing later this year. I've pre-purchased Vive XR Elite as well to do my own development, but to actually experience yeah, true VR gaming with good games and content and so on, this will be my go-to. So just unplugging this cable thing here. So here we have the headset. I mean, I need to look at this, not just through the camera. It's surprisingly light, I would say. Good looking. I like the white vibe. I don't like to compliment the Meta products, but this off-white thing in technology in general, I mean, for all I'm concerned, it could be the beige color that they actually had in like the 90s and early, or at least the 90s, for all that I care. I like it. There is something to it, although I'm generally preferring something that's darker. Yeah, we can see inside here too, not without or with any games at this point, but I mean, even before I've tried this thing, there are. It is possible to discuss the trade-offs that they have made here. They do have a Fresnel lens design, which we've already seen that the other companies who have provided things have sort of moved away from, with the pancake lenses that we are seeing in the Quest Pro, but also inside of the Vive XR Elite and the new Pico headsets and so on. But there is, yeah, PlayStation may be a bit behind on the particular lens technology, but it's all very complicated with their own individual trade-offs, because you wouldn't be able to use OLED screens, which they are using, finally, an OLED screen with an actual high resolution beyond the Vive Pro, not the Vive Pro 2. And I like this because you will read PlayStation VR reviews that says that the OLED screen has trade-offs because there are an increased distance between the subpixels in each individual pixel, because of course each pixel is comprising an RGB value, so there are 3 subpixels each displaying that unique color, and that distance is bigger on OLED displays because each unique pixel has its own emitting light qualities. And that can lead to an increased screen door effect in the case of being actual 4K, which is a high resolution, genuinely 4 times the resolution of the original PlayStation VR 1. But then you will read complaints, as you've probably already done, on YouTube or whatever tech magazine, and they will say that, well, this is better with the LED screens, or LCD screens that you're seeing in other headsets. But the problem about that is that it's just discussing the trade-offs from one side, because if they had actually released something with an LCD screen, then they would complain about how the dark colors aren't dark enough and whatever. And also the actual thing that they are implementing with the PlayStation VR is that they have this diffusion filter actually to offset the screen door effect that you get. So the screen door effect would be the space, the black space that you can see between the pixels. So basically something in your field of view that is not emitting light corresponding to the actual environment, virtual environment that you're seeing. And yeah, it's trade-offs all the way down, depending on what kind of technology that you're choosing. I haven't tried this yet, so I don't know actually how I'm going to personally position myself in regards to these trade-offs. But I think that OLED is something that is worth chasing, and if they actually were to implement pancake lenses, then they would have to design a very expensive OLED screen with a really high light emitting qualities, because the pancake lenses, they don't transfer as much light from the light source and through the lenses. So I hate Fresnel lenses. I'm really against it, but I think that OLED might be worth to actually save the pancake lens design from. Then again, there might be someone who actually has a solution to this. I mean, we saw the release of the big screen VR headset that's going to be released this fall, and they have OLED in a really high resolution with the micro OLED and are still using pancake lenses. Will it be too dim? We'll see. So I'm still, yeah, it will really depend on the actual user quality of this, whether it's, bright enough and they actually have HDR in this thing. I'm just generally curious to figure out what it's all about. But what I really like about this is that there's just one cable. It goes straight into the actual PlayStation. And although it is USB-C, right, many people are worried and concerned about that this is the only thing that you're actually getting out to display the signal. It just looks like the thing that you charge your Apple Watch with or whatever. It's very simple. It's a small cable. Like it doesn't look as if this could actually produce high quality video content. But here there is also a general misunderstanding in terms of how or what USB-C does, because usually we just charge things with it, we transfer some mini files or whatever, but the actual cable or the format of the cable doesn't really say much about what you can do with it. It all depends on what it is actually utilized for. So this small cable that comes with looks really weak. It is actually DisplayPort. So you can transfer a lot of content through this, and this is related to like Thunderbolt, which we have for Macs. It's also using USB-C, and it has a really high bandwidth transfer. So this is not the same thing as with an Oculus Quest or a Meta Quest, where you are compressing a video signal to transfer it over a cable. This is something different. This is DisplayPort. It's just going through something that is shaped like this. So it has a direct connection to the actual GPU of the PS5. But yeah, enough with the headset. No reason putting it on. Maybe I could actually put it on just to feel the weight of it. Yeah, it's pushing against my glasses. That's kind of good, kind of not good. Might have to look into some lens inserts here. I don't want to use a spacer because that would actually limit the field of view that I could get from this thing. And of course, the closer you can get to the lenses, the higher the field of view would actually be. But enough with the headset. It feels light, and I was never skeptical about how it would feel on the head because it was so good on the original PSVR. I just didn't imagine that they would fuck it up. But yeah, this is how it looks. Looks good. Feels light to me. Probably has a good balance. But I'll have to actually test it for this. And there will be an upcoming video on the channel, of course, testing it. And it will be unsponsored, by the way, which is why I'm actually streaming it today. Yeah, they're not sending me this 1 week beforehand for me to prepare a video, so I'll be as critical as I can, which is all the way. I'll be honest, there will be a review coming up soon when I actually get to test this thing for various purposes. But yeah, let's look at the controllers, which I'm really excited about. And I mean, goes without mentioning, but there is, of course, the betterments. You can see it here, right? The original PSVR was like interestingly low budget. It utilized, although it came for the PlayStation 4, it utilized PlayStation 3 cameras, like almost like iToy cameras or whatever that you use for PlayStation 2. It just had a simple camera using that and lights to track things, and it worked. But having inside-out tracking for this is going to make things so much better. Like the Resident Evil game that is available now. I mean, it's almost funny to think about it now that we actually used like a DualShock controller to control Resident Evil, which is a VR game. And even though you used this kind of controller in VR, it was a great game. And that is exactly why I'm really excited about actually having PlayStation deliver new content to this, because when they have the same technology that we have been having for years with proper tracking in the PSVR world and lately in the standalone VR headset world, it will really be something different in terms of that. So yeah, let's look at the controllers, which will no longer be some PlayStation 2 iToy, whatever crap shit. And here we go. I also kind of like how big they are, because why not? It's not like you're going to actually notice them. Oh, okay. I did not. Or, no, yeah, that may be the wrong hand. That's why. Sorry. Let me try both of them. Okay, so how do they feel? Yeah, it feels good. Like this space, the whole thing, I mean, no one minds. You don't see it, you don't feel it in VR, most likely. Also, of course, here, the great benefit, and I've already seen some videos of those who actually got this thing early, the real VR influencers. It has the same DualShock mechanisms that you get with the new PlayStation 5 in general, with the adaptive triggers. So if you actually have like a gun pointing or shooting at someone, you actually get recoil in the trigger itself. This is really interesting. Haptic feedback in general really needs to be utilized, and I think there actually is haptic feedback inside the VR headset itself, which would really make things more interesting when you're actually getting hit in VR, playing a shooter or whatever. I mean, we have all these haptic vests and so on. Everything has been available through different VR channels or products in every way. But what is interesting about PlayStation VR is actually bringing these things to the people. And that is kind of what it's all about. Developers everywhere, and I mean myself included, like we might have body tracking in VR chat and facial tracking in VR chat through the Vive Pro, like eye tracking and facial tracking and whatever, but it doesn't really matter, or it doesn't really impact the VR community at large before it actually gets to the people who use it. So that's why I'm especially interested in the mechanics that is implemented into this headset, which is Tobii eye tracking. And I can't really see exactly. Oh, I can. Maybe I can see hints of it. Yeah, maybe. But, I mean, eye tracking is incredibly interesting in so many ways. So, yeah, I think it was back in actually, just to add to this example, back in 2017, maybe 2018, I was at a VR conference in Sweden, and I got to try out Tobii eye tracking for some kind of demo. Of course, it was oriented towards business use. It was like, how could you analyze what kind of cereal people would be choosing if they walk through a supermarket, because hey, business, right? But at that time I wanted to do my own PhD research using eye tracking, basically getting the data to do research based on it. But at that point, if you would get an original HTC Vive retrofitted with this eye tracking, it would cost about 8,000 euros. which is, and this is approximately like 6.5% of that cost, and it has the same technology, right? So that's where we're seeing how this is going. And it's not used to make you buy a different kind of cereal at the supermarket. It's actually being used for foveated rendering, which would mean that they are able to actually just render in high resolution where you're looking at. And this is really high adaptive. And it's something that we need. It's perfect for PlayStation, obviously, because although the PlayStation 5 is great, it's not the same as a PC. So this, in combination with the fact that PlayStation are teaming up with actual, because it's on a PlayStation, then they just have to deal with different kind of priorities. PlayStation have their own publication policy in terms of what performance goes on and whatever. And in general, the PSVR, VR community is based a whole lot around, I mean, anyone can make an app and upload it to Steam. People rarely take time to optimize their games, and that's fine. I mean, I get it, but what the PS or VR community in general needs is actual developers dedicated to making their product run nicely for people who don't have insane hardware. And even for insane hardware, it doesn't work right. So, I'm just so happy that eye tracking is becoming a thing, because it's necessary even to be able for a PlayStation 5 to output something that is related to, where we need high refresh rates and low latency and whatever. So, I don't know. I think there wasn't a lot of other things in the box. This is the box. It didn't contain much else except for the actual headset itself. And I don't want to be selfish, but I'm actually going to play this thing. I'm excited to see how it works. And thanks for checking this out to the one streamer who is actually watching. I like it. And I'll be actually uploading a real review of this thing, depending on various things. And of course, this is still, unfortunately, maybe even for someone, it's going to be a non-gaming channel. I won't be uploading a review of particular games as such. I will be trying to look at, hopefully, the way that PlayStation VR can harness social communities. It would be interesting for me with, if they got VR chat on here, that would be cool. But I'm more interested in the experiences, because you have a whole lot of other YouTube channels to show you Pavlov in VR or whatever. So the only reason that I'm doing this stream at all, or doing any kind of focus around PlayStation, is that I hate Meta so much. And this is a competitor. And it's a good competitor because people actually like PlayStation. And they like PlayStation because they sell you things that you want to buy, instead of giving you things and selling things that you don't want to be sold on behalf of you. So, we'll get back to the PlayStation VR with everything that is relevant to non-gaming VR in various ways. We'll have to see how we actually do that. I might stream some games, though. That would be purely for entertainment, but the actual curated content that comes out from this channel won't deal with the games. You have other channels for that. But I hope that you enjoy your PlayStation VR 2 as well, if you can get it. And if you can't get it, you can wait 1 year and they'll be on. There will also be some boring people who bought it thinking it would be fun, and you can get it real cheap on eBay or whatever in about a year. So, cheers. Thanks for checking it out. And if you're actually interested in following interesting things, I do hardware reviews as well. So this is what I'm probably going to limit my content of PlayStation VR to the actual hardware review of the thing. So, Now I'm unfortunately too excited to check this up myself. I did get a stream box, or I have a stream box. I tried to stream something from this, but it didn't really work. So good night for now.